Our next order of business is to learn how to add modules to a page. In the previous example I gave you in creating a page, you notice that once we create a page, it's just a blank canvas. There's nothing on it. That's why modules are important, because modules are the content that you're putting on the page. What I'm going to discuss is the attributes of a module, the security or permissions that you can put on a module, just like you can set permissions on a page. You can also apply permissions to at the module level. Also, the layout of how the modules lay out on the page, and the containers of the module. So let's get started. I'm logged in as the admin, and I'm going to go to my handy administration ribbon, and in this middle layer here is the add module. Now when I click new, and notice I'm on page 1 right now, so I'm going to be adding a module to page 1. I'm going to click new, and this one little drop down here gives me almost all the attributes that we'll be discussing in this section right here. The first is the type of module, and by default it's going to add an HTML module. This is the most common type of module, which is basically just put some HTML content on the web page. But if you notice, there are a slew of other module types that are in my DotNetNuke installation that the host has installed for me. Now, discussing all the different types of modules and how to configure them is another topic for another advanced training video, but for now we're just going to discuss the HTML module type. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a title, and we'll call this one Getting Started, and I'll show you where that title goes. Visibility, this is tying in with the permissions. If you remember that I made the page 1 have permissions that allow all users to view it. If you say inherit from, or the visibility is the same as the page, you're inheriting those permissions from the page, which means anybody who can view the page can view this module on the page. So you can set your viewing permissions even at the module level in DotNetNuke. Most of the time we want to inherit from the page. Now, where we're going to lay out this module on the page is denoted by what pane. And notice before when we talked about the view modes, and you can view the layout, this is what this is discussing. These are those different panes that I showed you before, and by default I'm going to add this to the content pane, but this allows me to put different modules on different panes to kind of lay them out on how they look on the page. And the container, which we'll discuss a little bit about this later, I'm going to just set the container of this module, and I'm going to make it title blue, which is in this minimal entropy, which is the default skin that comes with DotNetNuke. But I'll show you a little bit more about what a container is and how you can change it and what it does to the look of the module. So let's go ahead and add this to the page. Now, if you notice, it didn't appear to do anything, and the reason is because I'm in view mode, and it's an empty HTML module, so I need to switch to edit mode here. Now, once I'm in edit mode, now I can see my module here, and the HTML module has a couple things on it. It has an edit content link that allows you to edit the actual HTML in here, and it also has a settings link. Now, let's go look at the settings and look at some of the attributes of this module. So you have a module title, which you saw appeared right above the module body itself, and it says Getting Started. And you see, just like the page, we have this permissions block here. Now, I have it set to inherit the view permissions of the page. Again, the page is set to all users can view it. So as long as I have this checked, that means all users that view this page view this module. But you can actually uncheck this, and you can actually set a different type of permissions for this module. Now, what that'll look like is, if I set it like this, it'll mean any user can view this web page, but this module content will be invisible unless they're registered. So it's a very granular way to have permissions in DotNetNuke. Also, in the page settings, I believe, is where you can set a few other attributes. The allow print, whether you display the container, and this collapse expand are ones that I use quite a bit, as well as the module container, which chooses which container I want to change it to. Now, let me go ahead and edit the content of this module, and I'll show you the way some of these options work. So I'll go ahead and hit cancel, and now I'm going to go edit the content. Notice now that on the editor here you have this fully, almost like a Microsoft Word editor here, which is very powerful. For people that don't know HTML, this is a very useful tool because it allows you to do these formatting things like creating bold paragraphs, bulleted, allows you to kind of edit your content like Microsoft Word. For people that know HTML design very well, it's better just to design it outside of the system, and you can click on HTML here and just plug in your HTML, which for brevity I've already have this HTML block already defined here, so I'm just going to paste it in here. You can develop this HTML and any other kind of HTML editor that you wish, and just plug it right in here and click save. Once I save, now my HTML is rendered on the page, and this is what it looks like. So as you can see, it has formatting, it has images, it has hyperlinks. So any kind of HTML you can plug into this HTML module, and it renders it right on your page. So what I'm going to show you next is some of the settings. Now, notice that by default there's this print icon. What this allows you to do is it says for this module, if you click print, it'll allow you to put the module content into a print window. And it gives you this expand minimize button, which if you click it, it expands and minimizes the content. Now most of the time I don't really need this type of functionality on every module. I usually implement maybe my own print or my own, and I really don't need this expansion type thing. So I'm going to show you when I go to the settings how you can eliminate those, because most of the time you won't really utilize that. Again, go back into the settings, into my page settings, and this expand collapse, if you set it to none, that will remove that ability for users to expand and collapse in that module. And if I uncheck the allow print, that removes the print module icon. You can still print using the browser's print, of course. And as you can see, I have display container set to true, and as long as I have that set to true, it'll wrap my content in this container, which is title blue. So let me say update here, and we can see what happened. So as you can see, I removed my print and expansion icons, and this, as you can see, this module was called title blue, which means I'm going to leave the title in there, and it's going to be color blue. Now, what the container is it's the look and feel of how this module, the surrounding of this module on the page. It's hard for me to describe, so let me pick a different container. I can show you a visual of what that means. And the nice thing about containers is, again, this comes with the skin, which is the host installs for me. But I can actually pick containers that are from different skins, and so you can mix and match your containers and your skins to make a unique looking web page. So I'm going to pick this other one from this other skin called Dynamite, and it's called White Flat. And I don't know what that is, but I'll go ahead and update it and see what it looks like. So now you can see that it changed it pretty dramatically. Instead of just having a blue over in my title, it surrounded my title in this green border, which doesn't exactly look right with my skin, but and it also surrounds this entire my content here. So it could have some modules add borders around the content, some actually add background color to the content. So there's a myriad of different cosmetic options that these containers give you. So that's pretty much the basics of adding an HTML module to your page, actually changing the content of it, changing the title and the permissions, which is the visibility of that module, changing or setting where you want that module to lay out on your page, and also changing or setting the container and understanding what the container is and how it changes the look and feel of your content. So by now you should know how to log into DotNetNuke, add pages and content, and set the permissions, the visibility, and the layout of those pages and content. But we've really only scratched the surface of the capabilities of DotNetNuke. A couple other resources I'd like to recommend. The first is a free training video that's developed by the DotNetNuke Corporation. It's on their website, and it's about an hour-long deeper dive into the administration of your DotNetNuke website. I really recommend that. And then DNN Creative is a website that has hundreds of training videos on all aspects of DotNetNuke, not just on the DotNetNuke core, but also on all the third-party modules and how to configure and install them. That site is a paid site, but I think it's under $100 for a year subscription, so it's definitely worth it. So check that out. And thanks for learning with me.